Hi, welcome to another Friday Tips with Fenz, down here at the Watts Factory, the nerve centre of FTP training on the south coast of New South Wales. We're going to have a quick look at periodisation in training today and talk about the different methodologies that are proposed and are used by coaches and athletes alike. Our classic periodisation model looks at the build from foundation, base, build, peak, race phase, and that might be followed then by a transitional phase into a little bit of time off, maybe before you rebuild into another block of a similar structure. The rationale for this is that we give our bodies an increasing load over time, made up of either increasing duration, intensity, over that period of time as the body adapts through the recovery weeks within that phase. You allow your body to get stronger so you can handle more load in the next subsequent phase afterwards. This is a classic model that's used by most coaches around the world, and it works very, very well. What I've found over time though is that the body becomes quite habituated to the classic standard builds, and therefore sometimes to get changes and to get adaptations, new adaptations when you've reached those plateaus in performance, we have to sometimes think a little bit outside the square. Because the human body doesn't know it has to be trained like that, okay? So if you've always gone every year and you just go out and you do loads and loads of kilometres, you do loads and loads of steady Ks, the chances are that your ability to ride long is not really in question. Of course you can ride long, of course you can go out and do loads of kilometres because that's what you've always done. So that base aerobic fitness is very good. What I might do if I see that in a client's files is I might come then in with a very hard, fast sort of VO2 phase. I tend to make these relatively short because it's easier for us to manage both mentally and physically, but short, sharp and hard. The idea there is to break through the barrier, break through our existing level of performance and reach new heights. These sessions need to be hit hard and fast, and you need to be mentally prepared to do so. The adage there is that when you go for one of these types of sessions in this type of a block, I want you to go for PBs in them sessions, okay? And then in the other sessions in the week, we may just have some recovery. So it enables you to be fresh enough again to really jam it and really hit those VO2 sessions hard. We might do different blocks like this through the year, interspersed with good recovery, very specific work to target very specific areas of your physiology. Another method that we've used a lot with my ultra endurance athletes, especially those that are time crunched, is the method of reverse periodization, whereby we might have a good mixture of solid tempo, SST and threshold base work with some VO2 interspersed through most of the season. And then when you're coming into your particular ultra event, whether it be a big tour that you're doing multi-days, or whether it's a 24-hour race, is that the demands of that race are that you're able to ride steadily for a long period of time. So therefore we've come into that with very good aerobic fitness, but not necessarily specific to the demands of that event. So what I might do is get my client to then try and structure, so they may have a week off or a 10-day block off of work where they can focus primarily on training. In that block, we will do rides, long rides, back to back, that are very specific to the demands of the target event. If that means that it's just going to be riding at sort of 70%, 75% for 6-7 hours at a time, then we will put blocks of that into that 10-day block, interspersed with some recovery days and easy days or days off, where the body can adapt to that, and then we'll come out of that phase and taper into their target event. I found that to be incredibly powerful and incredibly effective for ultra endurance riders that don't have the normal amount of time that a professional athlete might have, or someone that only has a part-time job. So remember, if you want to break through to new performance levels, try and think a little bit outside the square. Human body is not necessarily a machine. It doesn't necessarily always respond to the same things. Think a little bit outside of what you normally do. Get the body stimulus changed, get new adaptation and new levels of performance. All right, I hope that helps, and I hope that gets you out there doing some new funky training. I'll catch you out on the trail. Thanks very much. Bye-bye. Well, a car is very, very similar. It's an engine, and we have an engine and we need to fuel it. So it's very, very vitally important that we fuel the body correctly, and that we... Often what happens when we're younger riders is we get very much caught up, and I've talked about this before, in getting the kilometres in, going out there and getting lots of Ks in the legs.